Danny Wilson here from Flow Racing and Dirt on Dirt. It happens quite often. Someone will come to me at a race and say, hey, how do I get involved with Dirt on Dirt and Flow Racing? I'm going to show you some of the equipment that I use as I'm traveling around. So whether you're new to the sport or a veteran, I may have something for you. So stick with us, don't run off, because we got a lot to cover.
And your second and final feature of the night is underway.
Satterley in turn two, Pierce up top, Greg down the back straightaway.
In order to produce quality video like you just seen, three things are a must: a great camera, a quality tripod, and even better, audio equipment. During the next 3 minutes, we're going to review all three. Selecting the right camera. Boy, that's the million-dollar question sometimes. The camera that you're looking at right now is a larger camera. They no longer make this camera. It's made by Sony. A lot of your veteran videographers will use these because of the weight. The balance is outstanding. It does have some amazing picture quality, even though it's an older unit. But if you can get your hands on one of these, I highly recommend it, especially when you're filming up top. Now, the downfall to this unit is it's heavy, so you're probably not going to use this in the infield for your post-race interviews. What I like to carry is a Sony PX70. This is my secondary camera, but I use it for all of my interviews in the pit area or in victory lane. It's designed more of a run and gun type camera. The picture quality is amazing. Sony PX70. So if you're looking to carry two cameras, have a large camera for up top, smaller camera for in the infield. However, if you just want to spend money on one camera, go to the mid-size level cameras. I'm a big Sony fan, but there's others that are out there that are just as good. But Sony makes some amazing mid-size cameras that allow you to shoot from up top and unhook it, take it into the pit area, and do your post-race interviews. So, do you want two cameras or one camera? That's up to you. But make sure that you spend some money and get a good quality unit before you jump out there and start filming. When it comes to selecting a tripod, there are numerous items that you need to look at. First and foremost is how much weight can it handle. I always like to say go at least 20% higher on the tripod versus the weight of your camera, because you can have too much weight on the tripod and then the drag settings on the camera does not work appropriately. So you're going to spend some money on some of these tripods. You're not going to go to Walmart and buy a $30 tripod and expect it to work with the type of filming that we do. When you're always moving left to right, you need to have a little bit of drag on it so it's a nice smooth movement. You don't have that jerkiness. Plus, then you want to be able to lock the camera down. If the person that's producing a live show, you want to be able to have the locking mechanisms to where you can lock it directly in place. You don't have to touch it. So again, you're going to spend some money on one of these tripods, but trust me, do it now, because you'll thank me later, because I've tried to do it the cheap way and it just doesn't work. So get a good quality tripod through B&H Photography. Audio equipment, sometimes this can drive you nuts, but let's start with XLR cables. Try to have about 200 feet. I buy it in 50-foot sections. I typically find that usually within 100, 150 feet, I can tap it into my camera wherever I'm set up at. But have that extra couple, 50 feet, so 200 feet is good. And then you're going to need some splitters, because you may not be the only videographer at that racetrack. So you're going to need some splitters, so have some male to female, female to male. You also will need some spacers, adapters to go from one XLR cable to another, and you will also need different adapters to tap into the mixer board, whether it's the 3.5 millimeter or the 1/4 inch. You're going to need a couple different adapters. Very, not expensive at all. You also may need to have something to cut back on the humming. This is what I use to cut back on any residual humming that you may hear in the audio. You can also control some of your volume. Never fails, you go to a track, they got the PA cranked way up. You can turn it down yourself on the fly by using one of these units where you can turn it down. Wireless is typically the way I try to go, but it doesn't always work. So if you buy a good wireless pack, tap it into their PA system. Once it's tapped into their PA system, you got your pack set up on your camera. You're good to go in most cases, as long as you don't have any obstructions. I use two different wireless systems. One's for my camera up top, and then I will have another unit tapped into my smaller camera for any pit interviews that I may be using. Both of these are here on display as to what I use currently. So I want to leave you with a few other items, what we'll call other equipment. This is a zoom control arm or rocker arm, whatever you want to call it. Plugs into your camera to allow you to zoom in and out nice and smooth. Some people try to do this from the camera itself on top. I'm not a fan of that. Utilize this to attach to the arm on the back side of your tripod, zoom in and out. Headsets, earbuds or some type of headset to ensure that you always have good quality audio. Without this, you will have no clue as to how your audio is going to sound. So put a little bit of money into a good headset or earbuds to make sure that your audio is spot on. Batteries are so important. Sometimes you may not be able to run 120 up to your camera, so you may have to use batteries throughout the night. Make sure they're charged. Test them out throughout the year. During the winter months, don't store them in your garage or your vehicle where they'll freeze up. Keep them inside so you can keep them for many years to come, but make sure they're charged. Cards. I've had situations where I went to a racetrack, my memory card did not work. Luckily, I always carry backups to everything, but make sure that the card actually works. So before you get to the track, do a test run, check it on your computer to make sure that the memory card actually formats to your camera and it's able to record everything that you're trying to do. Nothing worse than having a card that does not work. When it comes to your pit reporting interviews, it's best to make sure that you have a good light on your camera, whether it's a small light or a large light, they'll work. Just make sure you have it adjusted appropriately and see if Dirt on Dirt or Flow Racing can get you a flag for your microphone. It just looks a little bit more professional when you're doing your pit reporting. But lighting is key. Make sure you have a good light.
As they head down the back straightaway to turn number 3, and Greg Satterley, that Robbie Allen crew chief, the car owned by his father, Gary Satterley, and Greg looking good.
Indeed he is, as Greg Satterley right now has a 1.8 second advantage.
I hope I was able to shed some light on some of the items that I use and what you may potentially need if you're looking to get into filming racing for Dirt on Dirt and Flow Racing. If you got any questions, I'll leave my email address below, and look forward to working with you down the road. But thanks for watching, and I hope you picked up a few tips.